All right. Well, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Surviving to Thriving, where we address how to move from struggle and just surviving in a world that's too big, too loud, too fast, just too much, to really being in a place of calm and actually thriving as highly sensing people. I'm your host and sensory coach, Tammy Goen, and I'm so glad you're here as always. This month, we've been talking about our needs and strengths and leadership in the workplace and in our businesses. So I'm so excited today to have with me an expert in honoring and connecting with our intuition and our confidence in our business. Please welcome Taylor Proctor. And before we really get started, I have to do an introduction. And this is a powerful introduction because wow, does she bring a lot to the table here. So Taylor doesn't just play the game, she redefines it. As a badass business strategist and optimizer, she's your ticket to new levels of success. From guiding Fortune 100 companies to carving out multi-million-dollar enterprises, Taylor has a knack for empowering high-achieving coaches, elite startups, and business leaders to become dominant forces in their industries. Who doesn't want that? A certified mentor, entrepreneur, and iMove specialist, we're going to learn about that, Taylor guides business leaders to explore their full potential and catapults them into growth overdrive with her suite of services, including her acclaimed Content Accelerator subscription and Quantum Power Days. I love the sound of that, even though I don't know anything about it yet. And she doesn't stop there. Taylor is the voice behind the award-winning international podcast, Creating with Confidence. And she's lit up over 70 platforms worldwide. And she didn't just speak at the International Women's Day, which was a celebration in India. She owned the stage, inspiring legions of women to step up into their power. That's why we're here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Women. So Taylor is not for the timid. She's the rocket fuel for your business and what it needs to blast past barriers and scale new peaks of success. So connect with her and get ready to redefine what winning looks like. Whew. Wow, I'm so honored to have you here. And I just want to note, so highly sensing folks tend to be more strongly connected with and aware of our intuition. Mm-hmm. And we have many special, talents and skills to share. And yet we also tend to be more limited, if you will, or connecting more strongly with self-doubt, second guessing, not trusting and listening to our intuition. So that's why I'm so excited to have Taylor here to give us some perspective on listening to that intuition, owning our abilities, and stepping into our confidence, because we've got it. We just need to do something with it.
Jump in with it, for sure.
So thank you so much for being here, Taylor. And so first, we could spend hours, obviously, on your backstory and how you got here. But if you could just spend a couple minutes and letting us know, how did you come to do the work that you're doing now?
Yeah, so I've spent over 15 years in corporate business working with marketing, operations, leadership, and strategy. And in the middle of that, I got a life coaching certification with emphasis on happiness. And I also have a certification through Yale on their science of well-being. And so I was running the corporate world and doing the business side of things. And then on the side of that, I was doing transformational happiness mentoring. What I found was a lot of my one-on-one clients would say, by the time that we had wrapped up working together, they would be like, this was amazing. I feel so much happier. I love everything about my life. Now, if I could just get my business to where it needs to go. And I'd be like, well, I have this whole super secret life over here in my day job that is just that, right? And literally growing departments and organizations from 0 employees to 30 employees within 3 years, from 1 service to 5, 1 language to 5, from 1 United States-based location to I spent 6 weeks over in Edinburgh, Scotland, setting up our EMEA location. So now we were multinational, right? And working with clients like Google, Stanford University, Johnson & Johnson, and others. So it was like, yeah, I kind of have that on lock. And I have my personal clients that are like, how do I get help in these areas? And so it really was a beautiful blend to bring those two together. And so I walked away from corporate, started helping my clients get good at business, and the rest, as they say, is history. But where intuition falls into this is that I found that even with myself, that I would see marketing campaigns. I would listen to the experts and the gurus because you always want to be on top of what's the latest changes and things like that. And it would turn into this, like, you do it this way and you will be successful. And what I found was I and my clients and the clients of those people could follow it to the letter, right? Exactly what this person had said to do. And it would fall flat on its face. And I know we're not alone in that, right? We see it across the board.
You're speaking to everyone going, like, I'm sure we can't see, everyone that's listening right now is doing this. Yes.
Yeah. And what ends up happening is, speaking to that self-doubt, right? You start to look at, well, it worked for that person. I followed it to a T. What's wrong with me?
Right.
And then what does that do? That starts to do this, well, okay, I got to follow this other strategy this other person said to do. And then that didn't work. And now I'm even more in that, like, spiral downward of self-doubt, shame, and then eventually being like, well, obviously I'm not good at business. So I better just quit and walk away and go back to the thing that I didn't enjoy. And I love my part of my business. But that's the other thing, is I work a lot with coaches now as well. And you got into business to coach, not to have to be a full-time to be a full-time content creator and all those things. So you're learning an entire new skill set, and you're trusting people to say, this is how to do it. And you do it and it falls, you start to think it's you. And so what I found is that intuition is the answer to that. So we mentioned in my bio, the I move method. Yes. So I move stands for intuition, marketing, operations, velocity, and execution. Now, if we take the I out for a second, as business owners, you do your marketing and you hope it works. And then you might have enough clients to start exploring your operations and getting those where they need to be. And then you've gotten some velocity in your business, and you hope that you can execute with ease, right? That's our MOVE. What ends up happening is when you don't have the I first, that is a slow slog, right? It's hard to get good at marketing if it's not congruent to who you are and where you're going in your business. It's hard to get good at
feel good if it doesn't resonate and you're not following that intuition. You have that idea, like, I'm doing the things, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not enjoying it the whole time because it just is like nails on a chalkboard or something for those.
Well, and what that does is that breeds this doubt, but it also starts to breed resentment. Right. And if we look at the energy of resentment, you're resenting your business. Well, then it's not going to be successful. Like, if you resented your spouse, can you expect that you're going to stay married for very much longer? No. Right. So you're resenting your business. You're resenting your clients that aren't coming in. So you're resenting your audience for not coming in because you've done everything you should. You've hated it every step of the way, or disliked it every step of the way. And so it breeds this resentment that does not support your business. The intuition piece has to be first, so that then you can be led by congruent action that really elevates your marketing, catalysts your operations into a space where you actually have gotten that velocity and you can execute with ease. So intuition is a key component of that for sure.
Yeah, I love that, because I mean, I've certainly been in that situation and running into those things. Oh, do this, it works for these people. I keep hearing this over and over. Why do I not want to do this? I don't want to do this. It doesn't feel right. And then every time that I make that decision to, like, I'm just going to step back from that, I'm going to try this instead. And then there's that little pause and that shift in energy. And then going forward is much easier again.
And all the opportunities open up. And it's so interesting too, because so we mentioned briefly Quantum Power Days. I won't go into super detail about it, but essentially what it is a service that I offer where I work with business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs in a 6-hour VIP day where we help them tap into their innate power and quantum leap their business forward through doing actionable items. So instead of having a day with a coach where you do all the belief breakthroughs, but you leave with more homework than you came with, and instead it's like, what are these things that are on your to-do list that we need to do to propel your business forward, and we get them done. That being said, so I had a client come in for a Quantum Power Day, and she had her list. And one of the things on that list was build a course. So we went through and we did her ideal, on her list. It was her ideal audience, her messaging, her branding. We built out landing pages. We built out nurturing campaigns. We built out her lead gen. We get a lot done in 6 hours. That's the other thing. But we built out all of these things. And then it got to the point where we started looking at building her course. Now, it's a no-brainer for me on terms of helping develop the course, because I've helped several other people in their Quantum Power Days do this. And I have a system to do it where it's really easy. They're verbal processors. I'm taking notes and like, we're crushing it. But I kind of got that intuitive hit for me that I needed to ask her, is this something you really want to do? So I asked her, I'm like, is like the course something you're dead set on? Like you're really excited for it? Like you want to do this? And she said, well, I really think I should do it. Right? Everyone watching this is like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Right?
The energy is now going completely in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. And what you're looking at is this thing of should. Every coach out there and most business owners out there are being told a success checklist, right? Oh, you've got to have a podcast. You've got to have a TED Talk. You've got to have an international best-selling book. You've got to have all of these things. And in that is usually the course. There's a million ways to make money in your business. Like you don't have to follow that checklist, but somewhere, somehow, a lot of people have bought into that, which is fine. It works for some, not for others. That's that like you followed it to a T and it didn't work, probably because it wasn't meant for you. But in her case, I said, okay, great. So you think that you should do it. I should warn you that it's not a build a course and then they come. It doesn't happen like that. Like you have to market it with all the energy and excitement. You've got to build it with all the energy and excitement and then actually put the wheels on it to really get it the momentum to drive people to it. And she goes, oh, yeah, I'm not really that excited about it. I'm like, okay, so what are you excited about? And she loves one-on-one work. She loves group work. And she's like, I really loved doing and hosting retreats. And I haven't hosted a retreat for my own business. I've always just co-hosted with other people. Awesome. Do you want to do a retreat? And whole energy dynamic changes from this, like, I should, and I don't know if I want to this, like, yeah, I want to do a retreat. And I was like, yeah, awesome. Here's the other piece of this that's really cool from like the business mindset of it, which is we built out her numbers and it's like, dude, you could have 10 people come and you'll make a $20,000 profit on a 3-day event that you're excited to do that will transform lives versus spending the next month and a half building out a course that you don't really feel like you should do, that you have to put all this marketing and sales and everything behind that you don't have the energy for because you burnt out doing something that you didn't want to do anyways, building the course. And then what's the profit margins on it? Minimal. And you have to get so many people in to make it work versus 10 one-on-one, intimate, transformational, which is where she thrives and what she loves to do. So even when it comes to like those types of things, when you're saying to yourself, I should do this, it really helps to tap into your intuition and be like, wait, what is the energy behind this? Is the should because it's an expectation or because I've been told it should be this, should being this, right? Coming up again, or is it something I'm actively excited about and able to do? And when you can tap into your intuition, which ask me how, right? When you can tap into your intuition, that becomes so much easier to support your product suite, to support what you want to put your energy behind, to support all those next level pieces of your business.
Right. Yeah. And that's so, I mean, just talking about it is very infectious, right? Just like, oh, yeah, I'm sure everybody out here watching is going, I want to be there. I want to be there. Oh, and I just start with listening to myself, my inner guidance instead of the shoulds, right? All the stuff that everyone else says, oh, that's what we're supposed to be doing, or that's the way to success. Why don't you want that? But because I work with people all the time on that, identifying your felt sense of something, if you're trying to really tune in. So when you ask yourself that question, oh, do I really want to do this? Or what does it feel like if I see myself going forward doing this? And you get that, like, nothing's firing, nothing's lighting up, right? And then you ask a different question and then suddenly you're going, oh yeah, now I'm on fire. Exactly. So yes, we can move into that. So you have some ideas on, well, actually you talk about like having 60 different ways you can receive intuition. Obviously, yes, we don't have time for an entire course right here, but but yeah, whatever you would like to share with us for some good tidbits, some nuggets to take away for, yeah, how do we do this? I know my intuition is really strong. I'm very, aware and sensitive to what's going on, but how do I really hone that and connect with that intuition?
Yeah. And I think that there's two sides of that, right? You said very strong intuition, connecting to it. How do we connect to it more frequently? But then there's a whole nother level of individuals that have intuition, but because it's not shown in the way that we typically see intuition, you might believe that you don't have it. And I fall in that camp. So I had to do two really quick stories. So one is that I have members of my family who have had dreams. So my father had a dream about my mother before he even met her. And when he saw her, he knew. I also have siblings that have had guidance and dreams and go lock that door, like all of those kind of things. My mother-in-law, same thing. Like, so I'm surrounded by these people who have gotten this, I'm going to say divine guidance or their intuition to really help them in a lot of situations. And then there's me. And I remember being like, I don't feel special. I don't feel, is it a worthy thing? Like, how come all these people around me are getting these intuitive hits? And I'm just over here like, well, I'll try this and hope it works. Right. And then, so that really kind of started that, like, okay, how do you actually figure out intuition? But then I had a coach, and anytime that something was aligned for her, she would say, oh, I just got the full body tingles.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I don't have anything. I have a personality that I get kind of mad, not in a comparison or like I'm mad at these people that have this, but mad that I'm like, how come like everyone says you have intuition, but how come I don't have it in the way that I see everybody else having it? And then I discovered the 60 different ways that you can receive intuition. And I say intuitional hits. I know intuitional is not really a word, but we're just going to roll with it, right? How do you receive your intuitional hits? And so what that is there's over 60 different ways that you can receive intuition in your life. And also how you receive intuition can be circumstantial, meaning that if you're looking at something like business strategy, your intuition can come in a different way than it would be, say, parenting. So I love that you had said, when you ask that question of like, do I really want to do this, like that, oh, I really don't, or that, oh yeah, I'm excited, I'm lit up about that. So that is actually an intuition piece called the intuitional gift of adventure. And I actually have that one to business. So for me, I know that when I'm making a big decision in my business towards the strategy of where I want to go, that if it feels like I'm ready to go on an adventure, so I liken it to, I'm from Utah, we have mountains, I've born and raised hiking, right? So if I'm willing and I'm excited to put on the heavy backpack with my water in it, my camelback, all my other stuff, get everything packed up and hike up that mountain, and I am stoked about it, that's my intuition saying that this is congruent, this is aligned for you, let's go do it. And in that same vein, if I feel like, oh, I got to put on my backpack and I've got to go hike up that mountain and I don't want to do it, that for me is a hard U-turn. Like, we are going the opposite direction. That is not a good fit. And the same thing comes into play when you look at like the intuitive strength of, or the circumstance of like wealth creation, right? I can look at my business strategy and say, okay, I have this sense of adventure. That's amazing, making sure that my strategies are aligned. But am I also getting a feeling of, one of my favorites is actually the strength of sonar, which is your ability to go deep within like sonar and go level by level and find like, oh, those, some say chakras. I'm not into, I don't know, I'm not a chakra practitioner, but like if you're going line by line or level by level through your body, through the strength of sonar, you have that intuitive strength to be able to go, oh, that wealth creation is happening in my sacral center. This is perfect for me. Versus if it's like, okay, I have the strength of sonar and I'm going and it's up here and I'm getting those kind of hits, that may say that this is more of a mental vibe than a wealth creation thing. And then that's where you ask, should I be doing this or should I not? So there's over 60 different ways that you can receive the intuition, but it is like a fingerprint based on every person individually. And as soon as I was able to understand that and know my unique strengths, because the thing is everybody has intuition. But there's a fly in my studio. Sorry about that. But everybody has intuition. But you're going to have levels across all 60. So for example, my coach that was like, oh, full body tingles. That's like way down on the list for me. Do I have it? Yes. Could I expand upon it and really try and focus and grow it? I could. Or I could focus in on my intuitional strengths and really hone in and tapping into those, saying, okay, I've just been given an opportunity to be a fractional executive for a global corporation. Mentally, I'm like, yeah, that's so exciting. That's a really cool thing. And then I tap in and I'm like, oh, actually, physically, I don't feel that sense of adventure. I don't feel that excitement. I know that if I go forward with that, just like you had said, if you go forward with the marketing coaches, these things that you think you should do, that the entire energy behind it is going to feel so repelling. And we use the word heavy when it comes to energy. And like, yeah, if I've got a backpack that feels like it's filled with rocks and every single day I've got to sit down and hike up that mountain, I'm going to hate it. Versus I'm fine with the water and everything else that is going to nourish and fulfill me, and using my intuition to help support those decisions.
That's great. And on an energy line, it makes me think of, because I do energy work myself. And when I was learning way back in the day, and one of the techniques I was learning was cranial sacral therapy, and everyone was talking about, oh, and then you feel the energy, in your hands, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I feel this, and I'm thinking, nope, I do not feel anything in my hands. And I'm thinking, what is going on? I thought I was kind of in tune here with, so it took me a while to realize I don't experience it that way.
Yeah.
And for me, it's more of, it affects my breath. And if it actually will physically, not to go into all the energy work stuff, but the cerebral spinal fluid and going through. And so the system will rock. So my whole body will actually react to that. Mm-hmm. And then once everything opens, then I can breathe fully. And then I have hits like visually of the stuff that will come up. But I never just go, oh, okay, I feel this here. I feel that. It's more like, oh, go here. This is your, yep. I have this hit to move over here, maybe ask some questions and see what comes up. But if I, for a while when I was locked into this, oh, everyone's feeling it this way and I'm not, so I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Right. Exactly. Even though people would say, oh, this is really great. And this happened and this happened. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I must not know what I'm doing because it's not, that's not the way it is. But it was happening. And when I was able to step back and just go, okay, I don't know what's going on with this. Let's just write it out and see and say, oh, this is the way it is for me. Like one of those 60 things that you were talking about. It's just different than expected according to what everybody else was experiencing.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
As soon as I honored that, it was like, oh, this is really pretty cool actually. And I don't really even have to focus on what's coming in, what am I doing, whatever. It's just like, oh, there goes my body. Okay, things are moving and I don't have to think about it, let alone second guess. But yeah. I had to get to that place to let go of that and that expectation.
Absolutely. Because once you're out of that expectation of how you think it should be, that opens you up for so many more opportunities. And like the next thing that I always like to lean into is like kind of embrace what sounds crazy, right? Like you said, okay, I'm kind of getting guided to go over here. I'm just going to go over here and ask some questions, and you never know how it's going to turn out. But if you're caught up in like, well, I'm not receiving intuition and blah, 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 like you stop embracing like those opportunities and you start to think to yourself, well, like maybe this is crazy for me to say. And I have a really funny story of that. So when it comes to alignment, my top intuitive strength is auditory, right? Which is actually one of the more common. We usually hear about the five senses being your intuitive strengths, right? But there's a whole 55 more, but those are that's more common. So for me, auditory is how I know that I'm aligned. Well, what's fascinating is one time I was meeting with a client and we're whiteboarding out her business and like all of these things. And I hear it, ask about her shoes. And I'm like,
Really
weird. Yeah, we're talking business. And like in the middle of this, I'm getting this like, go talk to her about her shoes. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. That's weird. So I keep on, I'm like, okay, so what about this? And, we're whiteboarding out all of her ideas and all of that stuff. And I get asked about her shoes. So I turn around, I'm like, hey, those are really cute shoes. Like, what's going on with them? And she goes, oh, I just got them. They're great. And I'm like, awesome. They're super cute. So back to business, right? And then I got again, no, ask her about shoes. So I said, okay. So I turn around and I said, hey, I want to put this on pause for a second. I know this is going to sound crazy, but like, do you have a thing with shoes? Do those shoes like mean anything to you? Like, what's going on with your shoes? And she goes, how did you know? I'm like, I don't. Right? What are you talking about here? Right. And I said, I don't know. Like, I need you to kind of just elaborate if you're willing. And she said, well, I have a problem. She goes, I buy shoes all the time. Like I have a shoe addiction. I have hundreds upon hundreds of shoes and I just can't stop from buying shoes. I'm like, okay. I said, can I ask? And then now I'm just like getting asked about this. So I'm like, can I ask what kind of shoes they are? And she's like, they're always flats or hiking boots. I'm like, okay, so where do you not feel stable in your life that you feel like you need to have stable footwear? So much so that like, you've got to have as much stable footwear as possible. And so then we started talking about that and resolved it. And she hadn't realized that that was why she had a shoe addiction. And when we were able to see what that actually looked like, then she was able to resolve it. And it helped her business skyrocket because that lack of stability wasn't in the back of her mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a business coach. I don't talk about shoes, right?
If you hadn't listened to that and gone with it, it could have taken so much longer for her to get where she ultimately got with you, right? Because you were like ignoring that thing, second guessing, doubting, like, oh, what does this have to do with shoes? No. So listening.
Yeah. And exactly. And so it's so fascinating because and I didn't know that was one of my top strengths when that situation happened. Since then, I've had several instances, not so much about shoes, but I've had several instances where when I am coaching with someone that I will get that you need to ask about this. And that's what happened in that Quantum Power Day with my client. Ask, does she really want to do this? Right. And so when you are intuitive as a coach, you allow your clients to also experience their intuition in new ways, and really open up like the opportunities for them. And so there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of communication out there that's like, well, need to be super professional and do this. And like, that's a crazy thing to talk about shoes when you're out there mapping your business product suite. And it's like, yeah, but just like you said, if we're willing to, at the time I didn't know this, but now I do, if we're willing to know what our top intuitive strengths are in key business areas, if we're willing to follow that path, it saves time for you and for your client. It gets them so much further faster, and it makes it all the more worthwhile for your working relationship because now they've tapped into their intuition, you're tapped into yours. And when you are congruent, everything elevates levels upon levels upon levels so much faster.
Yeah. Oh, so awesome. And I wish I could ask you, 59 other questions.
Well,
and we're out of time. So I would like you to let us know, for everyone who's listening, how they can connect with you. I mean, they can go to taylor@taylorproctor.com, but what's the best way to reach out?
I would say, send me an email. So I have a list of all 60 of the strengths and what they mean at a higher level. And I would be happy to share that with your audience. So if you just shoot me an email, taylor@taylorproctor.com, I'll shoot you the PDF that has all that information so that you can start to feel through. I would recommend, if you're an intuitive audience, right? I'd recommend muscle testing and seeing which ones are yours, as well as specific areas, right? So the circumstantial pieces. Additionally, I do offer what I call an intuitive strength business blueprint, which is a 60 seems to be the number, a 60+ page guide completely custom to the individual, where we're able to determine their top strengths when it comes to being their most authentic self, when it comes to aligned creation, when it comes to wealth calibration, communication and creativity, AKA marketing, and business strategy. And so when you know your top strengths in those as a business owner, you can really tap in and speed up the success of your business.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, such a wealth of information. I wish we could just keep talking. But thank you so much for being here, and everyone. Yeah, please do, reach out to Taylor. It's so awesome that you've offered that list, and I'm sure everyone that's listening is going to be wanting to reach out because such powerful stuff. So thank you very much for being.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you as always for everyone who has joined us on this journey of surviving to thriving. And I look forward to seeing you again, of course, next week. Take care.